Why you always lying?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Sean from Team Honey Badger here, out to bring you guys a deck profile to, well, not Overlords, as you can see on the playmat, but Sanctuary Guard Dragon deck update. So this is with, of course, the new Fighters Collection stuff and the expanded G-Zone. So I wanted to release this so you guys could see how the deck runs, and the deck is not dead. So many people think the deck is dead due to the release of G-Guardians and being able to stop the high-powered attacks, but it is nowhere near close to dead because of its ability to recover, gain advantage fast, and swing for high numbers. You're not guaranteed to have the heal every turn, and since most Sanctuary Guard decks play a lot of crits, you must still be fearful for this deck. So without further ado, let me actually jump into it. So to start, we're sticking with Milius. There is nothing better to run, in my opinion, than Milius. This is not a blaster engine deck, so I wouldn't even consider Wingull Brave. But with Milius, you counterblast one and put it to the soul. You search your deck for any grade 2. Very good. Searches out all your combo pieces, which this deck needs for its combo plays. And it gives you basically a whole toolbox of plays that you could go into. And it could even help you get some setup going against those front row retire matchups. So I'm going to start with the G-Zone first. It'll make it easier explaining later on. First of all, I play 3 Sanctuary Guard Regale. This should be no surprise. You must play at least 2 to 3. But 3 is what I play, and I think 3 is just the perfect number. Being able to give your whole front row on average +9 because you have a full back row of 1s or 0s could help your front row hit for at least a 15k guard. And coupled with one card, you'll see it'll help one card hit 21k unboosted. So that's what go. Next, we're playing 2 Altmaul. I would like to bump this guy up to 4 because of his ability to call 2s and give them power and give himself power and give your whole front row power. Could really help against those control matchups. It even helps against Chaos Breaker when they retire your front row. So being able to go into this guy and help you get a front row and combo with one card in the main deck to help you fill up your front row will be very useful. Next, we're playing 2 Clotennis. This is what I'm playing over the 2 Altmaul right now. It has the Brave ability where you can counterblast one, soul blast one, and you search your deck for a 2 for every face up of him. We only run 2, so we're only ever going to get it off once. But what I like the most about him is his Generation Break 3. Continuous Vanguard. If you have 5 or more rear guards, it gains plus 10k and a crit. So it just helps you go in with that pressure. But you have to be careful because sometimes you might not have the soul to use the skill. So I always try to think ahead on what I'm going to do the next turn before I make any choices. Next, we're playing 4 Saint Blow. I'm actually really happy that I can play 4 Saint Blow now. Saint Blow is the one stride that I wanted to play 4 of in this deck for a while, due to the sheer fact that this card makes your whole Link Joker matchup and some part of your Kagero and Narukami matchup. Being able to swing at the Vanguard with high number and a crit really forces your opponent, can I take this attack? And they see me flip another critical trigger and they're like, oh, I gotta heal. If they're at 3 damage. Next, you play 1 Godblade. This could honestly be anything if you really want to. You could play another G-Guard or play another Regale. I was honestly thinking of playing another Clotennis. But do I think the 3rd Clotennis is better than Godblade? No. But I like Godblade just because he could force a PG or a NoGuard early and help me gain some board advantage. And since we flip a board pretty quickly, Godblade just helps add to the cause. Alright, so we're playing 4 G-Guardians. Those G-Guardians are 1, Screw You. This is the one that gains plus 10k shield when it's placed on the Guardian Circle. You must play this because we play a lot of 5k shields and you want to discard them that could actually make them something useful. And on a 26k attack, you could drop this and make it a 2 to pass, which is very good for those unboosted attacks against decks that can't produce behind the Vanguard rear guards. Next, we play 1 Dismal. Dismal is the resist one. It gives one of your rear guards resist and it cannot be hit, so it's good in the Dimension Police matchup. And helps out with the Kagero matchup as well. So Another thing I like to do is combo with this card, Laser Guard Dragon. So if you're stocking up on your heals to use the G Guardians, you could use this small, protect one of your grade 2s, and then go into Laser Guard, which reads when you have another grade 2 on the board, you have at least one grade 2 on the board, it gains plus 5k shield, making it a 20k shield. So you could use this model to protect the 2, and the second time you go into G Guardian, you'll have the 2 if it's on that same turn. I only played 2 of this because I don't think I need an extra one of these, because these are extremely situational, but these are just generic for Royals. Alright, now that I got the strides out of the way, on to 3s. So I'm playing 4 Sanctuary Guard Dragon. Its limit break is becoming more viable as time goes on, and I honestly think it's one of the better limit breaks still in the game. Its ability to gain power for every 1 or less is still very strong, and with 4 grade 1s on the board and a Battle Song, which is this card right here, it will hit 32k with a boost, either forcing a PG G Guardian or NoGuard, or a bunch of shield, depending on what your opponent has in their hand, of course. And his on-ride skill allows you to search for any one in your deck. I really like this, and I use it every time I ride it because it sets up for Vanguard Regale. There are a few cards that I like to go into with its skill, which I'll point out as the deck profile continues. Next, you play 3 Sanctuary Guard Guarantee. I'm starting to like this guy a lot, even though he has a 10k base, making it less powerful compared to Sanctuary Guard Dragon, but a secondary skill to counterblast 1 and gain 3k. Still very good, because if you go first, you're most likely going to ride 3, and if you call this and you put a 6k behind this, you could attack, use the 6k to boost, it'll swing for 19k if you use the skill. And that's without triggers, so it's either forcing 15k shield or NoGuard. And it has Sanctuary Guard in the name. So, with Regale you need a Sanct Guard Heart, and I want to keep the theme of Sanctuary Guard. Now on to 2s. We are playing 4 copies of Beanon. Beanon, of course, is your Sword Me replacement. Counterblast 1, call a 6k in the same column. Still very good. I play it at 4 because I'd like to see it more often now, because I really want that early game advantage that my opponent can't get. Next we're playing 3 Twin Sword. Twin Sword's the on boost. Yeah, not much more to say. He lets you search for a grade 2 from the deck, and it helps you get off an extra attack. And next, for our main ride target, we're playing 3 copies of Violinist. Violinist skill is the grade 2. When it's ridden on the Vanguard, you counterblast and soul blast. You get to search your deck for any grade 2 and call it to the rear guard, shuffle your deck. So this just helps us search for an early rush, or just helps us get any of the pieces that we need for our combos. And one of the things you could do is you could use Twin Sword, attack, boost, call Violinist, use Violinist skill, call Twin Sword on top of it, and get off another attack. So it's 5 fully powered attacks in 1 turn, which is very cancerous. And lastly, we play 2 Bread. This is mainly what I search with Twin Sword, and it's the card that I said that hits 21k with Regalia, because 12 plus 9 equals 21. He's the 12k generic 12k attacker at GB1 for Royals. But remember, it has to attack a Vanguard to gain the skill, so you can't use it to attack a rearguard for 21. Alright, that's it for the 2s. So now we're on to the 1s. So starting at the 1s, let me just get this one out. Play 4 copies of the Stride Plotter. Because I play 4, I was considering teching in an Ultimile in the 3 lineup, because to use its skills is search for Ultimile, but I'd like to stick with the consistent Sanctuary Guards. If you try it, let me know how it works. I'll definitely look into it, since we like to call 1s early. But even though we could flip a board quickly, I still think the 1 Ultimile could be very viable. And of course, it just helps you stride by becoming a grade 3 when you want to stride. And then this is something I want to change. I'm playing 3 of the Isolts. If you have unflipped Perfect Guards, Holy Night Garden, play them. Trust me, you don't need the blocking the rears anymore now that we have Dismal. And you might have noticed that I only have 3 Sentinels. That's because I'm teching in one of the Brave PG. This card is absolutely great. because at GB1 Brave, it gains plus 2k. So if you have a full back row and you're boosting a Twin Sword with this, it'll hit 26. It's a pretty good number against an 11k Vanguard. And at the end of turn, you return it to the hand. So when you're in a pinch, this could really help you get some of your plays going and help you get another grade 1 on the board. But come GB207, when Kagura rolls around, you're going to have to be kind of careful where you place this, because Denial Griffin or Defeat Flare could get around it. Alright, so now the main beat on target, as enough as the PGs are, you don't want to search them. That's why we want to search the Mirons. So Miron skill, just like Blackwing Swordbreaker, when it's placed on the rear, you Soul Blast one, draw a card. But it has to be called from the deck. So that's why we run 4 Beanon, because we have 4 Miron. I sometimes may call this off Sanctuary Guard Dragon skill to help us get a +1. That's fine. But still, we want to play this as much as we can. You could also play another Richard, but I don't think 5 of these clones are necessary because it will clog the deck at that point. And in my last 2 grade 1 spots, I'm playing Battle Song Angel. Great card. Once it's on the board, it's on the board for a while because it has resist. Even though some cards can get around it. I just like only playing 2 because Diablo is very scary if you're facing it. And this guy, he gains plus 2k. So if you put him at the front and you have 4, counting himself, 1, 2, 3, 4, he'll attack for 21k alone. Which makes him pretty good. Alright, now that we've seen the main deck, we're going to see the triggers. Wait, the triggers are in the main deck. So we're going to see the triggers next. So I'm playing 10 criticals. Notice these are all vanilla triggers because of Braid. I want to play vanilla triggers because Breed, if you put them behind him, they'll hit 26k, which is very good number. And play 2 of the Altma crit. I don't think 2 will hurt, and especially since we play it Altma Stride, it'll still work. But I just like this trigger lineup just cause. I think the crits would be better this format because stands should not be running this deck anymore unless you're playing the Barkle variant. That's because Link Joker, Kaguro all got very strong, and we need the crits to help finish off the game. And you might notice I'm not playing 12. That's because I'm playing 2 draws. People are saying you should tech 2 stands. Don't do that. Only 2 stands hurts the consistency of the deck because you're not guaranteed to drive check it every time. At least with Margle, if I hit it, it becomes useful because a lot of cards use Soul in this deck. So this allows me to put it to the Soul and give a unit 3k. So it's just like boosting it with a Regalia 1 more buff. 1 more buff. Hashtag it, get it trending. And lastly, we play 4 heals. This is because we play 4 G Guardians. I don't think this deck is dead at all. I think you should still play it if you still have the money now that it's becoming cheaper and cheaper as time goes on. And who knows, we might get Sanctuary Guard ARC, that Japanese exclusive Sanctuary Guard in English one day. And when that does come out, that's a whole nother video. So anyway guys, thank you all for watching. Nice to finally get this deck profile out of the way.